We chew the fat and give you our gut reactions on all things pop culture, film, TV and theatre. We talk the legends in the creative industry and those on the rise. We game old school. We do all of this, and a whole lot more. Like, subscribe and get involved. Join Steen Anthony Nielsen and the Outcast Creative.
Hello, welcome to the channel, The Outcast Creative, where we interview people from the creative industries primarily, also review films and TV shows old and new, as well as other events, including plays, even clubbing events, anything that involves a creative element. And normally on Sundays, we do a breakdown of 2 episodes of the 2010 Spartacus television series with the late, great Andy Whitfield. But we're doing that tomorrow because various panelists weren't available. So tonight, instead, myself and the Inside Man are going to be talking about the career. We're going to look at the career of the late, great Alain Delon, who passed away today. Now, am I pronouncing that correctly, Inside Man?
It's Alain.
It's Alain, isn't it?
Alain with a silent N. So it's right. Alain Delon.
Alain Delon. Alain Delon. Yeah. So I might just go with Mr. Delon, so I don't keep mispronouncing that. And if people have comments, etc., but this stream was unplanned, so I may have to do a couple of quick plugs for it on Twitter as we're going along. But we hadn't planned to do this originally. He just, I think, passed away today, or at least the information on that was released. Mr. Delon, something of a sex symbol of. Would it be fair to describe him as a sex symbol of the new wave of French cinema?
Very much so. Yeah. I think when we think of these actors, particularly French actors of this time, we think of 2. We think of Brigitte Bardot and Alain Delon. These are the 2 iconic French actors of this period.
Yeah. That's very true. Now we're gonna sort of look through his resume. We're gonna identify between us films that we've seen and films that we've yet to see, and maybe also recommend some not only to each other but also to you, our viewers, as we go through the career of the great man himself. And I'm trying to remember what the first film was that I saw him in, and when I first I didn't become conscious of who he was until I was a teenager, because you know how it is when you're kids, you don't really read the credits and shit, do you? But I do remember that I have a distinct memory of my mother talking about him. My mother was a huge love of all things French, and my mum and dad used to spend a lot of time in France. They spent part of their honeymoon in Paris. And they did the Orient Express, actually, funnily enough, and ended up in Venice, but they went to Paris first, and I think they caught it from there. And my mum was a bit of a Alain Delon fan, and I'm sure I've got a vivid memory of him playing some kind of iconic cop role with a set of dark Ray-Bans on his face. Is that ringing bells for you?
It is, yeah. It is actually, yeah.
That's the first thing I saw him in. And we'll have to go through probably a shitload of stills to see which ones. But a naturally very good looking and charismatic man. I mean, let's be honest, the camera kind of loves him, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When did he first come on your radar?
Again, a very similar kind of thing to you. He was always a favorite of my mum's.
I think all our mums probably all our mums loved Alain Delon, and I'm sure he would be quite pleased to know that.
And I just remember as a very, very small child watching stuff with him in, not knowing who he was, and my mum sort of pointing him out. And some of those earlier films I don't have much of a recollection of, but that was my first memory of who this man was, and it sort of stuck with me ever since. And I was very young. I must have been, 7, 8, when I realised who this man was.
Yeah, because I have a vague recollection of their, BBC Two was very
I
big
was
on.
going to say this. I
Yeah,
was going. I
yeah.
can't believe you mentioned that. I'm so glad you did.
I'm going to say it's probably sometime around between 78 and 82. BBC Two did some kind of, I can't remember if it was an Alain Delon season or if it was a French new wave, Truffaut and sort of
Yeah,
like French film season, but it
yeah.
was BBC Two. The films were on
Yeah.
one a week, I think. I think it might have been something like 8 o'clock on a Sunday because I know I was allowed to stay up and see some of these.
Yeah, yeah.
So it feels like it wasn't 9 o'clock on a school night. I think it was like a weekend.
Yeah, I think it was a weekend. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, my memory might be a little bit fuzzy on it, but I seem to recall that it was one of those slots that the same slot that the spaghetti western season was in, and the same slot that they would have the Laurel and Hardy's in, and that kind of thing. And that was a BBC Two Friday night, and I just remember watching all of these amazing French films with these incredibly beautiful women,
Yeah.
as a kid, and just myself and my dad just sitting there absolutely agog, watching these amazing films, so classy. And but I do seem to recall most of them being comedies.
It's funny because my memory of that season is slightly different. And look, it's a long time ago, and I'm grasping at straws here. But my memory of it is more that it was more kind of crime and thriller, sort of. There was quite a few of them were black and white. There was like one or two that
Yeah,
were in color, but a big
yeah,
percentage of them were black and white, as they would have been back then.
yeah.
Yeah, and I sort of, that's, but I'm going to have to look at his second, but that's certainly the first sort of first memories I have of him.
Yeah, yeah,
When he came back into more my film conscious, so if we fast forward to 1986, I was working in a video store in Esher High Street, which was part of a chain. And that was their original store, and they had about 15 shops. And I remember Saturday mornings, all the other shops would have to call into my shop to tell me they had arrived. The different people had arrived, and we'd get we had quite a well stocked collection of movies. This is proper Tarantino-esque, this story, that me and him both worked in video stores. I also worked in a cinema. And there was a push by a certain company that they would repackage films that they thought would work for the video market. And I think it was also a bit of an attempt at a sort of career resurgence when he would have been probably in his mid to late 50s, maybe even 60s.
yeah.
And I don't know. Well, again, as I said, we'll turn to his resume shortly, and I'll see if I can identify that. But that's when because I was such a film nerd, I then kind of like, okay, yeah, I remember this guy. My mum liked this guy. There was a season of films about this guy. Let me check this film out. And that film was kind of quite unfairly lambasted by the critics, but it was actually pretty good, I thought. So if we go on to his list of credits, so 107 actor credits, 39 as a producer. Just go right down. I'll see if I can identify that movie. Oh, that's right. Do you know what? I just watched Concorde Airport 79.
Oh my goodness me! Yes, he was in that.
He was,
Yes, he
because
was.
he
Oh
played
my
the
goodness.
friend. He played the friend to he sets his friend up with a high class hooker.
Yeah,
Remember?
yeah,
Which is quite a bizarre
yeah,
storyline, which I
yeah,
don't think would sort of, wouldn't sell now. the movie. Now I don't know if the movie was repackaged and it came out later. This is it. Cop's Honor. There we go. It was this one?
Right. Okay.
So 1985.
Oh, nice.
That was not the cover. That looks like an advert for aftershave or something. I've got a grenade. That was not the cover in the UK. But Cop's Honor, that was it. That's also not the UK cover. And it was sort of a typical kind of French police drama. Pretty good, I thought.
Yeah.
It's annoying that they haven't got the UK video cover for that here, because that you probably would have gone, oh yeah, I remember seeing that on the shelf.
Yeah.
It's only got 5.6. I'm just curious to see the user reviews. Hubba hubba, nothing special. Didn't age very well. Best Delon action ever. When Delon loves Delon. Okay, all right. So fairly mixed. But yeah, if we let's go back to the very beginning of his career, and let's look through and see what we've seen between us, or what. So I own Concorde Airport. It's on the shelf behind me because I've got a Concorde Blu-ray box set, believe it or not. An airport box set with all the airport films.
Nice.
Yeah. The Concorde one, the effects in that have not aged well.
No, they're pretty ropey.
Right. So I have the DVD of Is Paris Burning? I also saw The Lost Command. He's the lead in The Lost Command. And they were both out in 1966. I saw Is Paris Burning? Is Paris Burning was part of that French season. I remember now. Because I remember I saw that film late night, BBC Two, black and white, basically about the Allied liberation of Paris, but really told from the Parisian point of view and the various groups in Paris. Have you seen the film? It's a superb
Yes, I
film.
have seen it. Yeah. And you're right. It's an excellent film. I think we may have actually spoken about this on one of the previous Nielsen ratings. I think it was something I think you brought it up and and recommended it to people. You're right. It's an excellent film.
Because it's got a sort of cinema verite documentary style in the same way that The Longest Day has. It feels very fly on the wall, like you're there at the time. They use all the real locations. They had a lot of vehicles and things. They had actual German Panther tanks in it, which was a bit of a rare thing. And it was an ensemble piece, so it was a big cast, again very much in the sort of vein of The Longest Day, whereas Lost Command, he was more kind of, that was more again, it was historical, but that's a kind of quite like that poster. That's the poster I remember. And you've got Glenn Ford as the American general. It's a really good movie. I watched it again recently. Leslie Caron. I mean, the French, they had the most in the 60s and early 70s, didn't they? They had this bevy of really glamorous women, and they knew how to shoot them on film. They knew how to shoot them. They knew how to make them look glamorous. Gert Frobe, good old Goldfinger. So there's Hitler. Orson Welles had a cameo in it. There you go. Yeah, he's one of the French sort of resistant leaders, one of the moderate ones in the movie.
So what year was this? This was 66. 66, right? Okay, so 21 years after the war. I should imagine that.
Wow.
A lot of locations were still pretty run down. Because I can remember even in London, in the early 70s, there was still quite a terribly run down city.
Oh, the Docklands before it was rebuilt was still it was still like as it was from the war, wasn't it?
Yeah.
All sort of partly destroyed, and like Beckton Gasworks, which doubled for whatever it was in Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
Doubled for Hue, didn't it, in Vietnam?
Hue City. Yeah.
Often mispronounced as Hugh, because it's spelled like Hugh. This is a really, there's Robert Stack. This is a really good film if people haven't seen it. It's not a great one to start off with Delon's career, because it is an ensemble piece. But let's look at, so that's probably the first thing I saw him in, because I did see that film quite young. Looking at his early stuff up to say 63. Have you seen any of these? Because there's a couple of titles here. Le Chemin de Écolier, I think I've seen.
No,
certainly remember watching that, possibly with a French girl I was dating or something. Let's have a quick look. The Way of Youth, French film starring Alain Delon. It's based on the novel The Transient Hour. God, there's only one review of it on IMDb, and it's really old. That's quite surprising. Okay, that's a very vague review. I'm sure I've seen this. Again, old black and white movie. No one else I recognise in that one. Okay, we'll go back. So none of the earlier stuff.
No, I can't say that I have.
Let's push on. Well, we've got a few we probably need to go back and check. I mean, I'm curious to know, and again, if anybody's watching who's a big Delon fan, and by the way, we're not claiming to be Delon experts on this stream. Far from it. I just loved the man in terms of what I've seen him in. We're not here to blag that we're experts on his career, but if anybody tunes into the stream who would like to recommend, if you haven't seen this is Delon's finest hour, chime in. We'd love to know. So the next one that I saw was The Lost Command. I rented that on video with my friend because it had an action cover, and when you go to the video store and you're looking for those covers with action. So let's I'll get up a separate page for that so we don't. The Lost Command. Boom. Okay, so I think I might be wrong, but is this about the Battle of Dien Bien Phu? French army colonel leads his paratroopers in a battle against the communist Viet Minh in Indochina. Against
this is one that I absolutely have not seen. I can say that.
Oh, have you not?
No,
with Anthony Quinn and George Segal. Claudia Cardinali. You've got in there as well. So again, she was a huge star at that time.
So this is about the pretty much about the evacuation of the French at the beginning of the Vietnam War.
I saw it a really long time ago. I have seen it probably about 15 years ago. Let's just pop the trailer up here. Have a quick butchers. I won't put the audio on. There's lots of gunshots right now. So my vague recollection is I think part of it at least is set in Dien Bien Phu.
Right.
I think the beginning of it, if I remember rightly, is set in Dien Bien Phu because they parachuted in and set up the base, didn't they? And then got surrounded by the Viet Minh and were basically destroyed. It's Anthony Quinn's movie. He's the lead, but hey, Alain Delon gets first mention on the trailer, so I bet Quinn wasn't too happy about that. Because Anthony Quinn had a massive ego. So there's George Segal. Okay, so he's a rebel chief.
Right. Yeah, I like the look of this. I really like the look of this.
I think it's probably up your street.
Mm.
Might be worth one. I might need to rewatch it, and we can talk about it on the Nielsen ratings. It's pretty easy
Absolutely.
to find. I think you can get it on. I think it's free on YouTube.
Right.
Anthony Quinn probably got mentioned at the beginning because he won't be after all of these guys.
Mm.
Yeah, so it, you know, it's got that. Definitely got that older movie feel. The score, all of that feels pretty dated about it. But I do remember quite enjoying it when I saw it.
Mm.
So yeah, one worth checking out.
That's right. Right. I've actually got a pen and a piece of paper, you know, old school, and I'm going to be writing all of these down. So,
No, good. So this is one that I'm sure I've seen, because I vaguely remember being allowed to stay up to watch it because anything with ninjas and samurai were cool. But let me just check the last adventure. Let's have a look at that. That sounds vaguely familiar.
yeah, it does sound familiar.
Best friends become aware of a crashed plane lying on the bottom of the ocean, allegedly stuffed with wealth. Adventurers set off in search of prey, and along with them, Letitia is linked, with whom both friends are secretly in love. So kind of a love triangle type thing. Okay. That looks like one of the Fort Boyard forts, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, the French forts in the,
Yeah.
There is Mr. Delon. I'm sure I've seen this. This looks really familiar. Yeah, that's where they filmed Fort Boyard. And then and then after doing the first pilot in the first season, realized it was really expensive to shoot in the castle, so they just shot like most of it in a studio after that. There's Mr. Delon with beard. Yeah, I'm sure
I think I've seen this.
Yeah, this did the rounds on British television.
Yeah.
In the 70s, definitely. We might have even had a dubbed version of it because I remember this actor, and he's kind of like the comic relief.
Yeah.
In the movie. Yeah, it's quite a fun film. It's sort of like an adult version of a Tintin book, which for French is, strangely apt when you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this that might be worth tracking down. It's got a 7 out of 10.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Even with no subtitles, still wonderful. Okay, so somebody watched it without subs.
Yeah.
Very good movie about a trio of sympathetic characters becoming involved to rescue sunk treasure in Africa. A film that survives well the 40 years. A lost gem. So lots of very positive reviews. Most people rating it 7 or above. Not bad at all. Don't make such movies anymore. That is very true. Personal cult favorite, etc., etc. Wish we were there. I bet. Yeah, so there you go. Write that one down.
Yeah, that's definitely down.
The Last Adventure. All right, let's go back. Jump down here. So it's funny, isn't it? You kind of grow up seeing these things, but you don't really know who the people are when you're that age.
Yeah. It's a shame because it kind of it kind of does make you not intentionally overlook something.
Yeah. Especially when you're older.
Yeah, and I mean, I try to watch as many older films as I possibly can, ones that I've already seen and ones that I haven't seen. I mean, The Lost Command and The Last Adventure, they're now right at the top of my list.
Well, I think you're going to want to add this one because I have seen this. It's exceptionally good. Haven't seen it in a long time, but I remember watching it. In fact, I think I was urged to watch it by one of my teachers at film school. And but that title, The Godson, was not the title of that I saw it under. It's called La Samurai. And after a professional hitman, Jeff Costello, is seen by witnesses, his efforts to provide himself an alibi drive him further into a corner. So, yeah, Delon plays the hitman. This job kind of goes a bit awry, and he tries to sort of fix it. But it's one of those things. It gets more complicated. You know, it's a really good film. Very old school in terms of kind of got a sort of Hitchcockian vibe.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I really recommend it. I like that poster. There's no solitude greater than that of the samurai. Yeah, he's kind of, it's that old sort of tale. I mean, back then this would have been quite original, but the lone hitman can't have any emotional attachments, all of that kind of thing. And yeah, so that's very much the nature of the movie. Delon's performance in this is iconic. It's one of his best, certainly one of the best I've seen. And again, I'm not claiming to have seen all of his films nor be an expert on his career, but of the dozen or so movies of his that I have seen, yeah,
he very much was able to make that transatlantic crossing, wasn't he? He was, you know, he was loved by Hollywood. He was really very much loved by Hollywood.
He did a few bits in Hollywood, but I don't think his career now, whether he chose kind of not to move there or whether you know, he was quite happy to stay in France. I mean, like, you know, I've got friends who work in the industry who could have upped sticks and taken the whole family out there and pursued their career out there and probably got like a part as, you know, the British scientist on CSI or something, which would have paid them very well, but they didn't want to do it. So I don't know, but he spent quite a big portion of his youth in the 50s, when he was trying to make it as an actor, living in Rome, and he lived with Gian Paolo Barberini, who was he went on to become a really famous photographer. And he was like a super famous Italian fashion photographer. I say he is still alive. And has written loads of books and things like that. So while he was living with him, he was just down the road from Cinecitta Film Studios.
Oh, wonderful!
So he went down there, did some things, and then he got offered a 7-year contract in the United States on the condition that he learned English. So he then went back to Paris to study English. And he was going to go to America, but this actress called Michelle Cordu convinced her husband, who was the director Yves Allegri, to hire him to shoot his first film, which was Crond la Femme, and I'm struggling with my French pronunciation here, Saint Mille, and he played a small role in that. The funny thing was, he was the lover of the director's wife. So that's why she brought him to her husband's attack. I mean, that's
fair play.
When you hear that story about Delon, it doesn't entirely surprise you, does it?
No, but there was this era with both French and Italian cinema was just incredible. I mean, the kind of actors that they both had, but it's that. You know, they're the product, you know, both the directors, the French and Italian directors, and the French and Italian actors, they're really a product of their occupation, if you like. They're a product of all of that suppression and repression, and there was kind of a, you know, this kind of frenzy of freedom and expression after the war, and I don't think any other countries could do it quite so well as the French and the Italians. I mean, in terms of their style, their innovation in acting, and not just acting, but their cinematic style. But they looked so damn good. I mean, these actors looked so good. The men and the women just looked amazing, so stylish and suave, and the women were gorgeous. And the films, the style of filmmaking, just so artistic.
I don't know if you know this story, but so I mean, because he kind of, when he became big, which was like 1960 to 64, was kind of when he started breaking out. And his first lead was in a comedy, which actually played in the States and did quite well, and that's what brought him to the attention of American audiences. And around this time, he was doing a bit of theatre and various other things, and he was getting good notices for whatever bits he did in film. And there was this all-star anthology film called Famous Love Affairs in 1961. And his segment, he played the Duke of Bavaria, and he was opposite Brigitte Bardot in that. Right? And around that time, David Lean was casting.
Yeah.
It's for Brigitte Bardot. She's still alive as well.
Yes, she is. Yeah.
So I bet they had some fun times together.
Oh, bet they. I mean, could you imagine what their children would have ended up like? How good looking their children would have been.
Yeah, if they'd
produced. Yeah.
It's fun. Oh, actually, I made a dreadful mistake on my social media earlier today because when I first heard he passed away. And funny enough, I looked him up only a couple of weeks ago. He came up on something I was working on, and I thought, I wonder if Alain Delon is still alive. And I thought, oh God, he is. And I was thinking, could we get him on for an interview? Start thinking about that. But he was one of the people that David Lean considered for Lawrence of Arabia before Peter O'Toole. Yeah. So I don't think many people know that.
No, I didn't know that at all.
Yeah. So he was. I don't know if he screen tested for it, but his name was being bandied about for it. Whether he actually did a screen test or not, I don't know. I haven't read a David Lean autobiography, so it's probably in there. But he when one of the things he did was he did this heist film called Any Number Can Win in 1963.
Oh yeah, I know that.
Yeah, right. And he took the film's distribution rights in certain countries instead of a straight salary. Right, that's how they were able to get him to be in it. And in France, that became known as the Delon method, and it paid off his gambling debts.
Yeah,
he earned 10 times more money as a result, and that's what got him interested in producing. But that's when that's back in the day when you could make good money on distribution deals,
Yeah.
Like,
that's great. What a great story.
Yeah. So it's actually, I mean, if somebody made a biopic about him, I'd definitely go and watch it because he's had such an interesting life. Yeah. Any Number Can Win. That was directed by Henry Venule. The film is based on a novel, The Big Grab. And he comes out of prison after serving 5 years for attempted robbery. His wife wants him to go to legit, but he immediately starts making plans for robbing the gambling casino in Cannes. Or Cannes. That's Jean Gabin is the other star of that picture. I feel like I've seen that one, but can't remember it in detail. Any number.
Did he happen to work with Truffaut or Godard or any of the new wave directors? Do you know?
Let's go back to his CV. Whether he did or not, I'm not sure, but he certainly was part of that era.
Yeah.
He was knocking films out in that time period for sure. So I mean, these people we're you know are the last of their generation. There's not many left now that have kind of worked through this era. I don't think Doctor in the Nude was one of Truffaut's. So, looking at the titles here, the Sicilian Clan is another one I definitely know I watched with my mum and dad. I remember that title. And that was another one that was kind of 9 o'clock, BBC Two, treat to stay up. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I think you were going to mention something about him and Brigitte Bardot before I rudely interrupted. I think what was the film again that him and Brigitte Bardot did?
Sorry, I just chucked it. You timed that really badly. I just chucked.
Oh, sorry, mate. Sorry.
Segment of an orange in my mouth. I thought you were going to talk for 5 minutes. Family Love Affairs.
Family Love Affairs. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the Sicilian Clan. An ambitious young mobster plans an elaborate diamond heist while seducing the daughter of a ruthless mob patriarch as a determined police commissioner closes in on all of them. I feel I've got to watch this again because I haven't seen this since I was a kid, but I definitely remember it.
He's done a few heist movies, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, that was very much. I mean, like sort of French crime stuff was throughout the 60s and going into the 70s was a really big thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was really sparked by Rafifi, wasn't it?
Sparked by what? Sorry.
Rafifi, the film Rafifi, with that probably the most iconic heist movie I think of all time, where that you have 20 minutes of the robbery. They're doing the robbery, but it's all in silence. There's no dialogue whatsoever. Everything's completely silent. It's one of the great movies, one of the great French movies of all time. It's just wonderful.
What year did that come out?
I have a feeling that might have been in the 50s. Actually, I think it might have been about 58, something like that.
And for anyone who's watching, who's a big Delon fan, if you've got a favorite movie of Delon's you want to recommend that you think we should definitely see, because we're not claiming to be experts on his career here, we're just reviewing and looking to see what we have seen and what we should watch. Let us know in the chat if you've got a favorite.
I think it's I kind of feel quite guilty really, because it's taken his passing to make me want to go and watch a ton of his movies.
Yeah, and I mean, and ideally you should be sort of seeing them while he's still around, really. But a lot of the ones that I've seen of his, I saw growing up. So the Zorro film I saw as well.
Oh, of course, I forgot that.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. That was shown on British TV, I think one afternoon, if I remember rightly, like a Saturday or Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
But we'll come back to that because that's a bit further ahead. I vaguely recall this film called Red Sun. That sounds familiar. Not sure I know any of these other ones here. The Red Circle, Borsalino, Cops is Cops. Not sure about that, but let's have a look at this one. That rings bells. Oh yeah, I watched this last year. This is the Western where you've got Toshiro Mifune from Seven Samurai. He goes to the Wild West.
Yeah.
You've got Alain Delon as a French lawman, and they're all the plot's all connected. They're all after the same person.
Yeah,
it's actually a pretty cool film because it's very different. It's quite nuts, kind of having a samurai guy in the desert, teaming up with Charlie Bronson.
Yeah.
Ursula Andress is in it as well. This is the film.
There you go.
It's the film that Alan Partridge forgot to mention. Ursula, I've seen Dr. No and all the others.
But also there was a samurai in that not spaghetti western that I was talking about last Tuesday.
Oh yeah.
The 5-Man Army. So there's a not samurai.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's a samurai in that not spaghetti western.
This is a good film. I watched it. I remember this being on TV. Again, it was like saw it being trailered, saw there were ninjas or whatever, samurai swords. The word samurai as a kid always was very exotic and kind of cool warrior. What does it mean? Who is a samurai? They've got these cool swords. I want to see this, Mum. So a week of pestering began, and of course I was allowed to stay up. But I don't think it was on a school night. I think it had been on a school night. I would have been buggered. But yeah, it's a good film. Good film, a lot of fun. And Mifune is really good in it. And there he is, looking pretty cool, has to be said.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of good comedy in this film with the kind of, they play the whole sort of fish out of water, everyone coming from different cultures thing really well. But it is quite funny sort of seeing Mifune walk around on the sort of Wild West set, in this full like samurai garb.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Delon's good in it as well. It's funny, like I say, I watched this probably only about 5 months ago, actually, and really, really enjoyed it. I actually tracked it down because I saw the poster and I was like, God, I remember that. I remember that film. But just, so I've only seen it twice, and the second time was pretty recently. So
that's another one to my list. Right?
Yeah, that's definitely worth watching. And not to be confused with his earlier film La Samurai, which is when he plays the hitman. So man, you're gonna have no end of movies to check out. So let's keep looking. So before we get to Zorro, there's a couple of others here that sound familiar, like Scorpio. Let's have a quick look at that. During the Cold War, the CIA orders freelance operative Scorpio to assassinate his former CIA mentor. Crossing a deadly cat and mouse game ensues. Directed by Michael Winner. Yeah, I've seen this.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah,
with Burt Lancaster, John Colicos, Paul Schofield.
Yeah, this was when Michael Winner was good.
This is when James Seeking, who just passed away the other week. He must be really young in this. I do remember this.
Yeah.
Can't remember a lot about it.
It's not a bad movie. It isn't a bad movie. This is 70.
Isn't like 70. Am I right in thinking Delon's the bad guy? 73.
73. I was going to say 74.
I think I saw this on TV, and again, this was probably one of those movies that was on that season. You know. But I think my recollection is like Delon's the bad guy. He's the one that's hunting down Lancaster.
But this
look at young Michael Winner there.
Did you have hello dear. That's the best I can do. I'm sorry about that.
That's pretty
good. Calm down, dear.
It's only a commercial.
It's only a commercial. Funny man. Yeah, strange man. But yeah, there was a period when Michael Winner was actually quite good. He's I don't think you're particularly enamored with Death Wish, but I actually think Death Wish is a pretty good movie.
I mean, I rewatched them, all of them, about a year ago, and I suppose in its time, it was very shocking and quite,
yeah,
you know. And I've got one of the French sort of cop B movies somewhere. I don't think Delon's in it. I bought it. It might be next door. I might go and grab it. And that was like a Death Wish spawn. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I find, I don't know, I found something about the violence in those films made me very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Mind
you, I think
maybe that's what makes them good. They're rough.
Yeah. I think we should really be made to feel uncomfortable by some of that violence. It's because what happens in them is nasty. It's deeply unpleasant. But like I say, he had a period, where he was making pretty good films. I mean, I do like The Mechanic, the original Mechanic. So yeah, Scorpio, Death Wish, and The Mechanic, I think, are his period where he was making half decent movies. Yeah, this isn't a bad movie, actually. It's not a bad movie. It's not a badly directed movie. It's not a badly acted movie. You got a pretty stellar cast there.
Yeah.
And it's competently made. I'm
gonna just see if I can change up the picture that we've got in the background, because I've just realised that there's basically a kid's nappy next to our heads. I'm sure Mr. Delon will find that amusing, looking down. I just realised, just sort of like between the pictures and us, there's this like kids crying. It just feels like strangely inappropriate somehow, especially as we're kind of doing a, honouring the memory of stream.
Yeah.
I can't. The problem is you can't move these pictures around as these backdrops. They just kind of do their own thing. So let me see. I've got one of his. There you go. That's better. Yeah, John Colicos, of course, from Battlestar Galactica. There.
Oh yeah.
The man who betrayed the human race.
Yeah.
Good old Bert. Wide train. You don't get trains that wide in the UK. Well, maybe that Elizabeth line, perhaps, but channeling his inner Scarface there. Yeah, I would like to see this again, actually, because I definitely remember it. Can't remember much about it, but all of these shots, all of these scenes, all like, I saw this.
Yeah.
Actually, this might be one I might watch tonight. Hang on, let me get my own list out. I'm gonna write some down as well. Let me get my own list out.
I think I've got 6 or 7 on my list at the moment. So I've got Lost Command, Last Adventure, Scorpio. What's the other one? Oh God, I can't even read my own writing. What's that? Oh, Red Sun. Red Bum then.
It's funny, actually. I'm in the middle of, because I'm doing this book called 100 Amazing People I Have Known. And I was just checking to see if this person's name was on it, the one we were talking about earlier. Because I was thinking, I'll probably have to take it off now. But I hadn't completed the list yet, and actually they're not on it. So they won't be on it now. Yeah. So
so it was originally 101, but
no, I've got up to 73. I wrote 73 names in 10 minutes.
Wow.
So
that's pretty good. I think if you can do that, in that short space of time.
The remaining spots, it's going to be quite tight. Yeah. So Scorpio 1973, definitely going to want to watch that again. I've actually got Red Sun. I have a copy of it.
Oh, you do? Right. Okay. Yeah. You see, I do like to get hard copies of these. I got to be honest.
Yeah.
Like to track down a few hard copies, and I'm currently going through Arrow's collection
Oh yeah,
to see what they've got, because they really do these movies proud. They really do. Got some wonderful spaghetti western collections, and I'm pretty sure that there's some Alain Delon stuff in there. So I'm going to check out Arrow first. They're going to be my first port of call.
let me get on to I think the next one that either of us might have seen or might be worth discussing. I'm hoping we're not missing out on any greats here. And again, anyone watching who says, "Hey, you haven't talked about blah blah," please interrupt us. So, No Way Out, obviously not the Kevin Costner film. Sounds interesting. Two Men in Town, Blood on the Streets, and then Zorro. So I don't think I've seen any of these others, but I'm quite interested in learning about them. So let's No Way Out. Big guns. A mob hitman wants to retire, but his bosses don't think that's a good idea. Complications and many bloody shootouts ensue. This sounds like my kind of movie.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. That's on the list.
So this is another Delon. He has played quite a lot of hitmen or police.
Yeah. Yeah. Hitmen, bank robbers, police. Yeah. No, that's
damn. I like that shot. It's like he's running in the middle of the air.
No way.
Oh, that's
yeah.
What's his name? Who played the commandant in Where Eagles Dare? He just shot at. Oh, mate, this film looks epic. Definitely got to see this. It looks like Peckinpah kind of style. Got to see this.
Oh, this is great. This looks great.
Yeah. Women getting mowed down among a tomato stall. I'm sure I've been in that square where they filmed that shootout. Right, so No Way Out / Big Guns or Tony and Zeta. So it's got 3 titles.
Right.
I wonder if this has been reviewed. I wonder if it's been released. Hard copy. Richard Conte. Now, this actor I've seen in a couple of other things. Can't remember what, but you probably recognize his face as well. This guy. I've seen him in a couple of other movies playing like, Barzini in The Godfather. There you go. Donimilo Barzini in The Godfather. That's him. Violent Rome. Yeah, that's one I've seen him in. The Violent Professionals. Right, The Violent Professionals is the film I've got next door. I was telling you I've got one of the new wave, sort of gritty, and these are the ones that came out off the back of the success of Death Wish. Violent Professionals, that's this one. And he was in that. There you go. And that's the bank robbery in the film.
I'm actually going to write that one down as well, actually.
It's not bad. You'll like it. You'll like it for sure.
Yeah.
You'll like it. Well, thanks to Alain Delon, we're getting a whole host of films we've got to watch. Let me write that other one down though. That was the one before this was Big Guns, wasn't it? So
yeah.
'Cause that looks great. I wanted to see who the director of this was. Duccio Cesare. Let's have a look at what else he's done. 50 movies. No longer with us. Can't say I've seen any of his other stuff. The Return of Ringo. I think I saw that. Yeah, the Ringo movies. The Return of Ringo, A Pistol for Ringo.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he did Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, the 1966 version.
Oh,
Marco Polo. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that. That was a bit naff. And several of the Swords and Sandals. Colossus of Rhodes, Hercules Conquers Atlantis.
Yeah.
Goliath and the Vampires.
Yeah.
Samson and the 7 Miracles. Hercules in the Center of the Earth. Man, we could do a whole separate stream about this guy's career.
Do you know, that would be a great idea? That would be a terrific idea.
Why not?
But those Peplum movies, or sword and sandals, Italian sword and sandals movies, mainly starring Steve Reeves.
Yeah.
But Charlie Band, he was actually on set for quite a few of those, and he
Really?
made an appearance in a couple as a child.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
nuts.
so he was kind of like a child extra.
I keep forgetting because he was brought up in Italy, wasn't he?
He
So
was, yeah.
yeah,
And his father, when they moved to Italy, I mean, obviously his father predominantly worked at Cinecittà,
yeah.
um, and yeah, he tells some quite interesting stories about being a child on the set of some of these Peplum movies. Um, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
they're in his book, I imagine.
yeah, bless him.
Are you saying that he saw quite shocking and adult things occur?
No. I mean, these are the Peplum movies are very, very tame.
Oh,
They're
no, I thought you
very.
meant the stories he had of being on the set rather than the content of the film.
No, not really. I mean, they're all because his father was the first assistant director. On them,
Right.
obviously he'd be taking care of him there. I think both him and his brother had appeared as child extras in them. But they're all very, all very child friendly, all very professional, and yeah. And he said he had a wild time doing them.
Well, I hate to say it, but I think I might have found another one that you're probably going to want to watch. Two Men
Go
in
on.
Town. A former bank robber is released after 10 years in prison. He gets help from a social worker, but gets harassed by an old cop from his past. Jose Giovanni is the director. 7.3 on IMDb.
That's a good score.
It is a good score. Let's have a quick look, especially for the older film. Classy crime flick dealing with the injustices of French law. Great French thriller. Bleak, slow, but definitely worth watching. If it's bleak and slow, it's definitely up your street.
Nice one.
Hard to express. Classic and thrilling French drama from the two greatest stars, Jean Gabin and Alain Delon. A lot like a reworking of Les Miserables set in modern France.
Oh.
Giovanni's flag against the evil death penalty by guillotine. So some people are saying it's a corny propaganda movie against the death penalty. So truly a masterpiece, lame, slow, and boring. Well, hey,
Yeah, horses
might
for
be,
courses.
might be worth seeing.
I think it sounds right up my street.
We might have to divide some of these between us and come back and. So the other one I wanted to look at was Someone is Bleeding. It's funny, like half of these things either read, he's a hitman on a mission. He's an ex-con released from prison. He's a jaded cop with one more crime and that does seem to be a big section of his resume. Let's see. Someone is Bleeding. On the beach in Nice, Francois meets the mysterious Peggy and falls in love with her. Following her to a villa, he meets Mark, a lawyer who has a strange relationship with the girl. Mark tells Francois that Peggy is a drug addict. She kills men who approach her. Okay, so that all sounds a bit more weird.
That sounds. I like the sound of that. It sounds
Someone
very,
is Bleeding.
Yeah.
Danse de glace. I would have immediately read that poster as the sins of the ice cream, but I don't think that's how it translates. Yeah. So,
yeah, I think isn't it the sins of ice or something, isn't it? Something like that.
Well, the glace is ice, isn't it? Ice cream.
And it's also ice as well.
But Someone is Bleeding, but the original title was Les Sens de Glace. So I can hear your Alain Delon viewing list is growing as we're speaking.
It is.
So for those people watching, we're looking at the films and just chatting about the career of the late great Alain Delon. Now, before we get to Zorro, which we both remember watching as kids, Blood on the Streets. This looks pretty interesting. Liking this poster because anything with a trilby hat and a Tommy gun automatically gets my vote.
Yeah.
You know, I'm all about the trilby hat and Tommy gun. Released on Pathé, so you can get this on DVD. Oh, look at these credits. I'm already liking this. The Tommy gun as well. I like the clothing. I like the aesthetic.
Yeah.
Blood on the Streets. Right, I'm adding that to my list.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, look, I do like period films, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think, you know, even today, it's very difficult to recreate this kind of period.
Yeah.
I think it's probably, you know, the further away we get from somewhere, from a particular time period, I think it's far easier to replicate that. The closer we are to it, and we're still relatively close to this time period. The closer we are to it, I think it becomes more and more problematic.
But it's also the way the way filmmakers shot that period then.
Yeah.
It's nothing like the way filmmakers would shoot that period now.
No.
So that was the one before Zorro. So let's get back to Zorro, which came out. And now, is this the original first Zorro movie? 1975. So, yeah, I remember this poster. Have a feeling that I may have even rented this as a kid, but I'm pretty sure this was on British TV in like one afternoon.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that there was because Stanley Baker plays the bad guy. Have a feeling that there was a really bad dub of this that was released, but I might be wrong. But I've definitely seen this. I definitely remember this version of Zorro for sure.
I think this was the period where they were trying to revive a lot of the Republic serials, weren't they?
Yeah, because this would have been around the time that Flash Gordon and
the Lone Ranger, they did
Lone Ranger
and all
and
that.
We were often getting them. They were either showing weekly in the school holidays, or we'd get them all packaged up as one feature film.
Yeah.
Hey, so Marco Freitas, I hope I pronounced that right, Marco. Hugs from Brazil. Hugs back to you, buddy. Guys, I got to watch as a little kid in the 70s the Zorro movie. The actor starred and produced via his Adele Productions. I liked it so much. Right, so this is one of the films that he produced. In fact, we ought to look at his producing credits. So this is very much a vehicle for him, as well as no doubt getting a big chunk of the box office, I imagine. Let me have a quick look here. I'll just find a bit more about it. This will make you laugh. After another gangsty thriller, Icy Breasts, Dylan returned to his first swashbuckler since The Black Tulip, playing the title character in the 1975 Italian-French film Zorro. And then he also made 4 more crime movies in 2 years in addition to this. Let's just have a look at a little bit. So, yeah, 75 version of Zorro is a spaghetti western swashbuckler film. I've definitely got to watch this again.
Oh my God, yeah.
Released by United Artists, it was a critical and commercial success. Stanley Baker's final film before his death in 76. Just looking at, there's actually an actor, the guy here, this actor, this big chunky guy, his actual name is Moustache. I shit you not. I'm not joking. His stage name was Moustache. His real name was Francois Alexandre Galipides, but his stage name was Moustache because he had a massive moustache. The film was made in part because Alain Delon had enjoyed making the swashbuckler Black Tulip and wanted to do another one. Filming began in 1974 in Spain, with most of the crew being from Italy. Some studio work was done in Rome. The film's lengthy sword duel at the end was inspired by the film Scaramouche from 1952.
Now, how can you go wrong with a kind of a spaghetti Franco, Zorro movie? That's just asking to be watched.
I've got to see it.
Yeah.
So this is Zorro 1975.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's available on Blu-ray, because I'd actually like to get that. I'll even buy it if it's on DVD. Wouldn't mind having that in the collection. So Zorro 1975. Clearly, that's resonated with a couple of other people. Leroy mentioned I've only seen one of his movies, and that was Red Sun with Charles Bronson, which we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
Marco, by the way, welcome to the channel, mate. Really appreciate you taking time to leave a comment. If you are interested in films in general, you might want to check out my playlist for industry interviews. There's a lot of interviews with great people from the creative industries, including film and television. And I just interviewed American independent film director Tom Gichillo, and I have Gail Ann Hurd, film producer, coming on next month. So, and Roy Wagner, director of photography from Nightmare on Elm Street 3, he's coming on this Friday.
Terrific.
So, guests galore.
Yeah.
This is Ottavia Piccolo. You know what? I remember this girl as well, playing the love interest in this film. I do remember her. She's got a very specific look. Stanley Baker as the villain looks quite comical with that Sean Connery haircut there. And in this shot on the left, Alain Delon looks like he's channeling his inner Steven Seagal gown wear for this appearance. Oh, by the way, mate, I found this YouTube channel called is it Space Ice? The guy does the most fun rip-off commentaries of. He sums up like a Seagal movie in about 15 minutes, and they're all the ones that like Seagal is making in Eastern Europe. You know, the ones that are all like tax write-offs and like money laundering schemes and things.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, they're so funny. I'll show you one. I'll show you one later. When we come off this. So yeah, I've got to watch this. This is a must. Got to see this.
Yeah,
it looks really camp as well, which looks quite fun.
Yeah, I'm going to get this. I'm actually going to order this maybe tomorrow morning. So they were talking about people were talking about in the reviews Black Tulip, the other swashbuckler that he did.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with that one at all.
Let's have a look and see if we can find it. It'll be on his resume. Let me just I just wanted to write down the alternative titles for big guns, because I definitely want to get that. Oh, I've got all that. Okay, good. Let's would have been about 5 years before, something like that. What a career, though, when you're looking at how often he was working. And just the number of films, and actually, now looking at it, between us, we've actually seen quite a few.
A decent amount, I think. But there was a period in this country that anything not in the English language was pretty much dismissed. And
it was really only when BBC Two came into its own, didn't it? It started doing these kind of foreign celebrations, and I think they just realized there was an audience, maybe not the biggest viewing figures, but there were people that wanted to watch them, and I think that audience grew over time. Here we go. Black Tulip 1964. In 1789, when the revolution went on, a bandit named the Black Tulip held the surroundings of the village of Rousson in fear. The poor people respected him as Robin Hood, who declared himself a revolutionary, but Count Guillaume de Saint-Preux plays the benefactor. My God, this is a wordy synopsis. When he fought with... God, I'm not reading all that. Meanwhile, blah, 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 blah. The Black Tulip support Plantin and his group in the revolution. Will they succeed? Okay. So, I don't know if I've seen this. Let's have a quick look at some pictures. kind of looks familiar, but then, you know, we have seen a lot of films with, oh, it's got that really early Technicolor vibe, or is that maybe someone's colorized that? That might be colorized, I think, you know. That looks like early colorization, which is like really bad. But I think this was a color film though. 64. Most films were in color by 64, weren't they?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I've seen this. Maybe. I mean, that get-up, Delon in that get-up does look familiar.
Yeah.
Kind of the flashy black pajamas, basically. And I do recall seeing a film with a big sword fight on a hangman's noose set up. So, yeah, maybe might have seen this.
Yeah, it's actually quite nice to
there
look
you go,
at
mate. Blu-ray available.
Oh, right, there we go.
I think German import probably. Sorry, you were going to say?
Yeah, I you know, it's nice looking at some of these trailers and stills and posters.
Yeah,
they are prompting a few little memories. You know, that are secreted, you know, deep inside my head.
I feel like this might have been on one Sunday afternoon, and you know, suddenly there might have been a coach chase or a bit of swashbuckling, and 7-year-old me may have suddenly sat up and go, "Oh, look, fighting!" You know. But yeah, I don't know. Quite possibly saw it. Let me just get the official title for this: Blood on the Streets. Original title: Borsellini and Co. Okay, Borsellini and Co. Some of these might be on. Some of these might, of course, be on YouTube.
Yeah.
Quite possible, as they're so old. All right, let's see. What else we got? What do you got? What do you got?
What do you got?
What do you got? Okay, so 3 Men to Kill. That sounds familiar, but we haven't quite got there yet. So we also, okay, so we just done Zorro. Comme un Boomerang. That's got to be a comedy. And there's an Armageddon, not Armageddon, Armageddon. Maybe that's the French word for Armageddon. Let's have a quick look at that one. So we haven't got time to check all of them, but after years of poverty, Carrier, a repairman, inherits a large sum of money upon his brother's death in an accident. Now rich, he decides to make his mark and be known at any cost. It doesn't say make his mark doing what, but I assume they think that's not important. Becoming more and more mentally unstable, he begins to threaten the police and government, signing his tracks Armageddon. A detective from Interpol heads the investigation and prepares a trap at an international conference of world leaders in Paris. Okay, could be interesting.
Sounds interesting. Right.
Sounds a bit batshit crazy, but let's have a look.
It does a bit, yeah.
Okay. Look at that guy's trench coat.
Nice.
Actually, do you know what? I think I've seen this. I'll tell you why. Because the bad guy, this bad guy with the glasses, I recognise that image. And it might be that I've just seen the poster before, but I have a feeling I've actually seen this. Is there a trailer on here? No, there's not. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, Renato Salvatore, who played the bad guy. Now he I've seen him, I think he might have done, I might have him mixed up, but I thought he did an episode of Space 1999. You know, it was like, oh no, that's what I saw him in, The Light at the Edge of the World. He plays the guy who gets rescued by Kirk Douglas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's a mad film, that Light at the Edge of the World. I remember when I saw it, that was the first time I'd ever seen a kind of, you know, rapey scene in a movie where, you know, he basically throws the women to the crew of the ship. It's a really disturbing scene. And she's sort of playing him up to that point, isn't she? And sort of trying to make the best of a bad situation. But yeah, it's all like, oh man, that film is really dark, proper dark,
very dark. Yeah.
So we've got The Hurried Man. Let's have a look at this one. Pierre is an antique dealer living in our modern, fast-paced society. The rub is he tries to move even faster than the surrounding world. That's not gripping me. Let's move on.
No.
It might be good, but it has a distinct lack of guns and car chases. I sound so vacuous when I say that. Now, this I remember. This was repackaged for video because I remember this poster. I remember this.
Oh, that's familiar.
Yeah. I do remember this poster. Different title, but this artwork. So let's have a quick look through. Oh, very, very 1970s poster, that. Killer Rat. Yeah, this is it. I remember this. So we had this in the video store. Might have seen it. I can't remember if I saw it or not. He's now kind of got that sort of smoldering. At this age, he's still very sexy, wasn't he?
Yeah,
still very charismatic, sort of, I mean, camera loved him. So this is death of a. Let's have a read of it. Deputy Duabe kills racketeer Serrano, revealing corrupt dealings. Xavier covers up but faces difficulties as influential personalities seek documents to blackmail Duabe. Okay, so there you go. Death of a corrupt man. I might give that a go. I'm going to write that one down as well. Okay, I'll go. Big list of films to watch here, just from one man's career. Bit of a compliment, though, really, when you think
it is actually, yeah.
This is what we're showing here, is that this man has a legacy. Oh, hang on, we've got some more comments from Marco. I think this is about Zorro still, co-produced with Italian money. Yeah. We were just talking about this filmmaker before you came on. Kind of the John Flynn of Italy. Funnily enough, Marco, we were saying we might do a special on my channel on that filmmaker. So I'll tell you what, mate, if we do, you can come on and be a guest if you like.
Yeah, that would be great.
So we might do that before the end of the year. So because we do streams on the careers of different filmmakers, particularly people that people might not be aware of. 1 year before Bronson in Death Wish. Yeah. So we were talking about The Violent Professionals earlier, which I've got the Blu-ray of, which I'm sure, Marco, you've probably seen that. One of the kind of French, very gritty, violent cop films that came out in the wake of Dirty Harry and Death Wish and all that. And there was a few of them. So, Death of Corrupt Man. Okay, let's see what else we have.
I think Marco's actually hit on something here, because going through some of these movies, they seem to be quite an awful lot of French-Italian productions. They're co-productions, aren't they? An awful lot.
I think because back then, French cinema and Italian cinema travelled well in both countries.
Yeah.
So it was often, I think, to their advantage that they would put a star in from each country, to get that selling power.
And also, they have a very, very similar sense of style, don't they? Both the French and Italians. I love the French and I love the Italians. I've got to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Well,
one of the places I definitely would live, is, if I could, would be Italy.
Yeah.
Attention, los enfants regardant. Okay, so in a seaside villa under the care of a nanny, a group of children spend most of their days watching violent television shows. This sounds interesting. I bet this is a favourite of Tarantino's.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Drama thriller. So here is he sort of like a hard drinking dad who says, "Kids don't." Oh, I see. And so in order to discipline the kids, he's kind of putting them through the mill a bit. This looks like a really strange movie. Hanging kids up on hooks in garages. Now, is that a girl on the left or is that a guy? Sophie Renoir. I think that's a woman, isn't it?
Yeah.
They've got a very androgynous look in that image. I sort of vaguely remember this poster, but I definitely haven't seen this film. I wonder if Marco's seen it. Offer some comment if you have. So for anyone who's just joining the stream, we are talking about the career of the late great French iconic actor Alain Delon. We're looking over his career. We're looking at the films he's done, and we're talking about the ones we've seen, and also looking at the ones we would like to watch. So far, I've got a list of 5 that I'm going to track down and watch. One of which I've already seen, which was Zorro, 1975. 2 of which, others of which I'm pretty sure I saw but don't have specific memories of. Inside Man's got a list of about 15 already.
Yeah, I think I've actually got 11.
Have you? Have you got 11?
Yeah, I think it's 11.
I was
actually,
joking, but I wasn't far off.
Yeah.
So
right, it's 11. Yeah.
Let's get back to the list. Well, we might as well make that list around 20 for you if we can. So other ones, let's have a look. Yes, if we do that stream, Marco, there you go. He would be honoured to pop on.
That's terrific.
Yeah, we normally do discussions like that on either a Sunday evening UK time around 8 o'clock or a Monday night UK time around 8 o'clock, but it's not always set in stone. Sometimes we do Fridays, and it just depends when we're free. But yeah, if we schedule something, a good way of contacting us is through the Outcast Creative Facebook page, or you can contact me via my Twitter, the details of which are actually in the blurb below this stream. So yeah, okay. What else have we got here? So so we got to Concorde, Airport 79.
We actually knew it as Airport 80 over here, didn't we?
It was called Airport 80. Yeah,
we got it just slightly later.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, I bet if I Google that, we can find a poster with Airport 80 written on it. And I'm not sure what it's called in the Blu-ray box set. Let me have a look. But my dad went to see it at the cinema. And I was annoyed because he didn't take me. And when he came back, he said, "Don't worry, son, it was crap." It's not that bad. It's all right. Yeah, I found the Airport 80 poster.
All right. Yeah.
And this is the original French poster, which, of course, emphasizes Mr. Delon. So here you go.
Yeah.
Airport 80, look at that. Only $72 for that original poster. So let me grab my box set of the Concorde movie. Airport movie.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. It's quite interesting, isn't it? You know, that tiny little gap between the release in the US and the UK, and the whole marketing thing has had to be altered.
Yeah.
So you can only imagine how much that would have cost, how much additional cost that would have added, to the publicity and marketing.
So this is it. So on the back, it's got the original sort of American posters because they're portrait. Airport 1975, Airport 77, which is actually my favorite. That's the one where the plane goes underwater.
Yeah, that's terrific.
And
that's great.
That's an Airport 79 poster on the back there. All 4 disaster movies. I binge watched all 4 of these in one day, and I realised that there was one of them that I'd never seen.
Which one was that?
75. I hadn't seen Airport 75. I'd seen Airport. Airport 75 is the one where they crash into the small plane.
Yeah, that's it.
Which was loosely based on a true incident, which actually resulted in the destruction of both aircraft. When they were descending, they descended on top of the Cessna. Yeah, it was a dreadful accident. All right, let's.
I saw 75 at the drive-in movie theatre, and I saw Airport much later, actually. But yeah, 75 was the only one that I saw, actually on a big screen, and boy, was it a big screen.
Right, that must have been good.
Yeah, interesting. love driving movie theaters. Just
Marco's pointed out another one of the Italian, rip-offs, the Concorde Affair. Now, I remember that being on video shelves, the Concorde Affair, with a kind of like a sort of actiony looking poster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that. That was another one that sat on the. Let's have a quick look at that one. Clearly, like us, Marco, you have a passion.
Yeah, damn, we got to get him on.
Yeah,
we got to get this guy
on. We love those Italian films from the 70s.
Yeah.
Another stream we're going to do is actually I was originally going to suggest doing this tomorrow, but we'll be doing Spartacus tomorrow. But we soon we're going to do Warriors of the Wasteland, all the Italian Mad Max ripoffs. Well, not just Italian. We'll talk about all the Mad Max ripoffs wherever they may have come from, because that's going to be a fun stream to do. Yeah, the Concorde Affair. Yeah, I've got it. Oh, right. This is the one where they put Concorde underwater, I think.
Oh, right. Okay. I'm writing this one down. Thanks, Marco.
Yeah. I do remember this. This was it's another one of those, let's get some big stars and put them in. And so there was a lot of, it's a lot of like second rate, the second rate American actor people, Joseph Cotton, Van Johnson.
Wow, yeah. Joseph Cotton, really?
Yeah. Nuts. Yeah, Airport 80 was what that movie was called in the UK. That's interesting. James Franciscus. Yeah, because his career was predominantly Italian films, James Franciscus. After he did the sequel to Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
Right, let's get back to Mr. Delon.
Mr.
Delon. So, yes, this is the Mr. Delon stream. Much as talking about Italian rip-off films is fun. All right, so this one I thought was quite interesting. 3 Men to Kill.
Yeah, do you reckon this might actually be a hitman?
A man is pursued by killers after helping someone at a car crash. That sounds a little bit different. 6.3 out of IMDb. I don't think I've seen it. That's a standard yet very entertaining French thriller. If you can overlook a plot that often makes no sense, this is a pretty good thriller with one heck of a chase. Okay. Somehow surprising, one of the better Alain Delon thrillers. No cyanide in the scotch. Not sure what that means. An interesting and engaging thriller about an ordinary plot, an innocent man relentlessly chased. Thrilling, violent Alain Delon film full of frantic action, intrigue, twists and turns. I'm sold. That's enough for me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to add this one to my list to watch. So that's 3 Men to Kill, 1980. Not that many of these were released internationally.
No.
We got that one with him in 1985, which was really pushed. So I'm kind of surprised about that. That there weren't more, because by this time the video market, mind you, having said that, considering the mass amount of European repackaged shit that turned up in all the video stores, we did get quite a lot of content. So I suppose there was probably more than enough to go round.
Yeah, there was an app. See, that was the thing, wasn't it? There was a deluge of content. Much like the way the streaming services are operating now, I mean, they're still crying out for content. You look at the streaming services now, the overwhelming majority of the content, okay, there's something for, somebody there, so everyone can find something. But the overwhelming majority of stuff that's on these streaming platforms is pretty dire. And it really is kind of they're just filling their shelves, really, and that's exactly what the video stores did back in the 1980s.
Now I remember this one, Kurt Jürgens, the Tehran 43. It was about the Germans planning to kill the big three at the Tehran conference, World War II.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, kind of a thriller. I do remember this because I remember this poster. That is a massive trilby. That could be that could be a poster for Bugsy Malone. If it just put a squirt gun in there.
You got me at Tehran.
Yeah. I mean, I like that poster. That's a great poster. That, even though Michael Einstein, Albert Einstein appears to be in the center of the poster for some reason. But, I do quite like that. Yeah. There's various video covers, and as we can see, it's been released on DVD. This video packaging looks very familiar, actually. Yeah, it looks good. I think probably another one worth watching. Let's have a quick look at the reviews and the rating. 6.7, so not too bad. I always like anything over a 6. I'm always interested to know. Yeah. Excellent co-production. Gather great actors from different nationalities: French, German, Russian. In the excellent Tehran 43, the film combines the different genres and has a very interesting scenario. Yeah, 2.5 hours long, so it's quite a big movie.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna get that.
The music for the film is complemented. We'll have a look at who the composer was. Let's have a look. Yeah, that one's going to be. I think that one's going to be hard to find for some reason. I've got a vague recollection of this being on TV one time. It does all sound very familiar. I'll tell you what. When we get to the end, what we'll do is we'll stay on air and we'll kind of have a bit of digging to see like what's available on Blu-ray or what's available on YouTube and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just to give the just goes to show though, the body of this man's work. Yeah, okay, he did a lot of films that were quite samey, but if you dig among that pile, there's some really interesting stuff in there. First of all, great sort of pillars that stand very well in their own genre, as well as some that have something slightly unique to offer. So there's a bit of everything. Sure, I'm sure some of them are a bit more pedestrian than others, but
I think a couple of times people have mentioned in the reviews, the words "lost gem." That was used for Last Adventure. So so that's very high on my list to get.
Actually, I didn't have that on my list. I'm going to add it now. The Last Adventure. That's the one where there was a sunken plane, wasn't it? And it was like the trio love affair. Yeah. What year was that? Did you write down the year for that?
I didn't write down the year. It was.
I think it was 60 something.
It might have been 69, 70. It's.
I'll check.
Hang on a bit. No, I think it was 67. I think.
I'll tell you.
67, 68.
67.
67.
Yeah. And the Tehran movie was 3 Men to Kill was 1980. I think the Tehran movie was the same year, but let's just double check. 1981.
81, right.
Yeah, and it was in the mid-80s that I started. Although I would already watch the stuff on BBC, it was in the mid-80s, about 1985, I started going to watch subtitled movies at the cinema. Yeah. One of the first subtitled films I ever saw was Pathfinder. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do, yeah.
The first film out of Lapland with the boy leading the Vikings.
Yeah,
away from his village.
Do you know what, mate? I'm so glad that you mentioned that. So glad that you mentioned that, because I've been racking my brains to remember the title of that film literally for months and months and months. I can't believe that you've. Thanks so much.
Well, I think it was the anniversary of it being released. It was released something like 35 years ago or 40 years ago.
Oh my God!
Last week.
Goodness me, that's hard to believe.
It came up on my. Okay, let's have a look at this. Pour la peau d'un flic. I'm curious to know what the title is, but a victim of manipulation, cop Chukus is wanted for 2 murders and searched for by every cop in town. So he's playing a cop. again.
Yeah.
So I like that poster. Oh, okay. Something's gone wrong. So let's go back. See if we can get. So I can get the. Okay. And Perilord. Oh, what's going on with this? IMDb is starting to give me grief here. I recognize this lady from other things. She's still around. Oh my God, look here. Is that not a vampire or something? Wow, look at Innocent Blood. Okay, I remember that movie. Yeah, I do remember that. And she was in Femme Nikita. Yeah, Nikita. Yeah, I remember. And The Man in the Iron Mask. Okay, so still going strong. Let's go back to Mr. Delon. So that might be worth checking out. I'm going to copy and paste that title. Not even going to attempt to retype it out. So that's 1981 as well. So a quick look at the reviews here. Violent, funny, complex police story, true representative of French cinema made in the 80s. Oh, Delon's directorial debut. There you go.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Thoroughly routine Alain Delon placeholder. Okay. So not a classic, but an extremely fun thriller. Nice. Not one of his best. Released in North Korea on NTSC VHS videotape. No DVD release. He seems quite upset about that. So let's see. Thank you to the 7 people who are watching.
Yeah, bless you.
We are discussing the career of the late, great, iconic French actor, Alain Delon, who sadly passed away today. So yeah, the big gaffe that I made on my Twitter, I went to tell you this earlier, and then I think we got sidetracked. For some reason, I got it in my head that this was Vincent Cassel's dad, because Vincent Cassel's dad is also an actor.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did this big post about, oh my God, terrible news, Alain Delon. Vincent Cassel's father has passed away, but the legacy continues in his son's work. And then this French woman posted underneath it, Lance, are you telling us something that we don't know? And I was like, hang on, have I got that wrong? And I double checked. Oh God, no, of course it is. Of course he's the son of da da da. And I got them mixed up. So, so for anybody who doesn't know, I did have a bit of a bump on the head when I was younger, and my memory is not too amazing. Oh, hang on. So Marco has just told Frederica Tesserai, Ducio's daughter, about your show. Oh, that's very kind, man. Incidentally, we both work in the film industry, so that's what makes this channel a little bit different. If you watch the industry interviews, Marco, you'll see it sounds like you might yourself as well. If you'd care to share, do let us know. Yeah, because Ducio Tesserai is no longer with us, I believe, but that's great. I mean, hey, if his daughter would like to come on as well on that show, she'd be very welcome.
Wow, that would be wonderful.
That'd be amazing.
That would be amazing. Really wonderful.
We do have film producer Galen Hurd, producer of Terminator, Aliens, Terminator 2, The Abyss, the entire Walking Dead franchise, coming on this channel on September 25th. I also have director of photography Roy Wagner coming on next Friday. He has been the DOP on films like Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, and Nick of Time with Johnny Depp and Chris Walken as the baddie. So yeah, you are going to want to check that out for sure. Let's look what else we got here. Le Choc, do we think that's going to be a hit? It's 5.7. I'm no, under 6, I think. I mean, Cops Honor's only got 5.6, but I thought Cops Honor was all right. It's not an amazing film, but I vaguely remember being entertained. Okay, Le Battant. Jacques Darnay Delon is caught and convicted of stealing diamonds and the murder of a jeweler. Although not guilty, the prisoner has served 8 years. So guess what? He's coming out of prison again.
Yeah. Well, you got me at stealing diamonds.
Jules not found. So Jack's, after his release from prison, follows Inspector Rule and other criminals who are interested in where they prey. Okay, I think basically that's translated a bit badly, but they're all trying to find the diamonds. Now that's funny because I'm in the middle of writing a screenplay for somebody, and it's got some similarities to the plot to this. So I think I'm definitely going to watch this. So this is La Battante.
Could you spell that for me, Lance?
Yeah, it's on the poster there. Can you see that? Battant.
Yep.
In red text there at the bottom left-hand corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna rent that. I'm gonna get hold of that one. Le Battante. I think that's probably 1983. Let me double check the year. Yeah, 83. So we're nearly at Cops Honor. I might see if Cops Honor should probably have a trailer. I'll see. Maybe we can watch it and I'll share the sound. I can always trim it out later. Oh, that reminds me. Hold on 2 seconds. Jump into my video admin. Manage videos. Yeah, I completely forgot to click the button on for this. Let's do that.
Oh, my list is up to 17 now, so I've just counted.
Bam, 17.
Yeah.
Quick look at the reviews for this one. Who's got the eyes? A self-serving effort with bows to a few directors. Good but dedicated to room. Flat, boring, and uninspired. Not good but watchable. Ooh. So the reviews on that one are a bit mixed. So it'd be interesting to see what you make of that one, Inside Man.
Yeah.
We shall see. I noticed that there's quite a few. When you look at the casting credits for a lot of these, there's quite a few actors that are recurring. Yeah, that have been in like more than one film with Delon. I mean, I guess the French acting community wasn't mahoosive back then.
But maybe he's one of these actors that knows who he feels comfortable.
Well, I noticed there's several directors he's worked with more than once.
Yeah.
So it's probably also the director, has their stable of actors that they like to come back to.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, we've got that today, Yeah.
So I think there's one that we've missed, which I think we're gonna wanna put on that list.
Good.
It's only scored 5.7 here, but it's called Le Gang, 1977.
Yeah.
French-Italian neo-noir crime film.
I'm there.
Post-war France, the gang of attractions Avante headlines by his burglars, never causing loss of life. So, might be quite interesting.
That sounds interesting.
There's a lot of people in the cast list playing themselves, so it must have a kind of, cut to news commentary or something about the robberies and probably real people doing the reports and stuff. Yeah, that could be interesting.
But I think as soon as you mention French-Italian neo-noir,
your pencil was already writing.
Yeah. My lid was already off.
Obviously, don't forget the 1974 gangster thriller Icy Breasts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So. Okay, so after Tehran 43, it was back to crime thrillers again. So let's have a look. So we have Le Baton. So Cops Honor we mentioned already. Just curious to see if there's a trailer for that. No, that's unusual because that was so heavily pushed as this big release. I want to see if actually that the let me see if Cops on a UK video cover. I'm curious to see if I can find that on Google. Nope, just lots of shots of police. Okay. Yeah. Oh, hang on. Oh, hold on. I'll put covert instead of cover. Whole host of typos made that incorrect. Here we go.
Cops on a video covert.
That's more like it. There we go. That's the one. That's the one. You'll recognize it now. Trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me. Trust me. This here. Here.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh,
yeah,
I do know that.
Yeah. Yeah, Guild. Oh, it's on eBay, right? Okay. Cops Honor. Yeah. So, yeah. VHS Guild Home Video. That was the cover. We had a massive standee for it, actually. In fact, I had a big poster of this on my wall for a really long time. So yeah.
Nice.
So that was the first.
What's that going
film for? On VHS.
Yeah.
Don't know. 13 pounds.
That's pretty good.
I chucked all my VHSs away. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it? Because and like charity shops don't even want them now.
No.
I have a feeling at some point in the future they'll be worth lots of money.
They really are. I mean, there are YouTube channels that are devoted entirely to video collections. You know, people that do collect video cassettes, and some of them exchange for. We're talking thousands. I mean, genuinely thousands of pounds.
I'll show you two. No, this is a bit off topic, but we'll indulge briefly. I'll show you two VHSs I've got that are quite rare.
Yeah.
Right. So hang on, let me make my screen large here. So this one is the colorized version of The Longest Day.
Oh, nice.
So they actually did, and it looks good as well. And they properly colorized it. And then this is Victory at Entebbe, which is the little scene rushed out, made for television movie. This is the one that's got Richard Dreyfuss in it.
Right.
And Kirk Douglas. It was all shot in studios. Even the outside scenes with the control tower and stuff was all shot in a studio. You can tell.
Was this the Menachem Golem one? The Victory at Entebbe?
No, that's
Operation.
No, that's Operation Thunderbolt. Now, if you look at this video cassette, right, you can, even though the left-hand side is pretty clear, that side is all right. Yeah, that was reflection. It's all black and it's all dark in there. But if you look at the right, you can see the right's got the white film of doom on it. See that white shit? Yeah. So, but this is not available on any other format. So that's one of the reasons why I've kept it. So let me deactivate large screen. Oh, by the way, I'm filming on Thursday.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, I'm doing a little acting role for Simon Cox in.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's
sci-fi.
Sci-fi thing. Yeah.
And I'm piloting a spaceship and like a battleship.
Didn't you play a tank commander in his last one or something?
I did play a tank commander in his last
film. You did,
yeah. So anyway, back to Mr. Delon. So that brief soiree. All right, so we got up to Cops Honor. So what else have we got? The Passage. That's not the one with Malcolm McDowell playing the crazy Nazi, is it? That was made in the 70s. Filmmaker working on an animated feature when he's suddenly killed in an accident. Diaz comes round after death, only to face death personified, who wants to strike a bargain with him. Sounds quite strange. Sounds a bit like it's got pretty low rating, 4.7. Although these 3 reviews are quite complimentary. First saw this movie on Bulgarian television. What an unusual place to see it.
Yeah.
I mean, he must have probably played more cops than certainly any other French actor, I would have thought.
It definitely seems like it. I mean, it's just appears to be his forte.
Yeah. So from the mid-80s onwards, his work starts to become a bit more intermittent. For example, here, there's a couple of shorts. He's narrating some documentaries and things. So
he did do some voiceover work, I believe, for animations. From what I can recall.
He announced his decision to give up acting officially in 1997. His last major role was in Patrice Leconte's Une Chance sur Deux, which was a box office disappointment. I think, because he was in sort of in the 80s, basically most of the movies that he was in, that none of them really kind of, caught fire. That film, the one I've just mentioned, Une Chance sur Deux, which came out in 1998, and it's also co-starred Vanessa Paradis, by the way. That the budget of that was 22 million euros, and in France it only made just over $1 million.
Wow!
So a couple of million, maybe. I mean, I don't know how it did worldwide. I've never heard of it before, actually. So I'm curious to see that one. Let's have a quick look up. So it'd be 90 around here. Half a Chance, would that be that sounds like a chance to do?
Yeah,
that'd be it, wouldn't it? Half a Chance. Tell you what, let's have a look at the trailer for it. Hold on. We might get a this actually, this poster looks familiar. I think I might have seen this. But let me I'm just going to see if I can share the sound, and then we can watch the trailer together. Yeah, there we go. If you can't hear the audio on this, shout at me.
Alice, j'ai aimé 2 hommes au même moment passionnément. Il y a 20 ans, ils ne l'ont jamais su. Et il m'en est resté toi. J'ai jamais voulu savoir lequel était ton père.
On se connaît? Ça m'étonnerait.
Les filles uniques, paraît qu'il n'y a pas plus chiant.
Non. Ah non. On est là, tout va bien. 50 millions de... 50 millions quoi? C'est une question de vie ou de mort. De vie ou de mort sur qui? Je sais que vous avez cette mallette.
Et puis quand tu me suis, tu sautes toujours tes suspects ou j'ai le droit à un traitement spécial?
Tu crois qu'on va encore savoir? Bonsoir. Vous allez rien mettre. Messieurs, vous êtes les heureux finalistes de notre nouveau jeu qui bouge pète.
Décrochez, je vous en supplie.
Attention messieurs, 3, 2, 1, c'est parti. Enfin maître, un peu de fantaisie. Ça roule mal, ça doit être les départs en vacances. soir, c'était qu'un échantillon de démonstration.
Oh, there we are. I feel like we don't need to see the film because we've seen the whole movie now.
Yeah, I think that's yeah. It was
That
good.
looked like
I'll give it a 5.5.
That looked like a cross between Midnight Run and The Hitman and Her. You know, Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah.
Okay, so that you can see the budget on that was quite big. There was a lot of stunts and explosions and all that kind of stuff. But I haven't seen it actually, so I don't know. 5.8 on IMDb. Let's have a look at some of the reviews quickly. Pure entertainment. Alan and Jean together again. Slick but disappointing action comedy. 1 chance out of 2 to give this film a chance. What? Such fun. On top of the worst celebrity movie ever. Yes, big French names. Dialogue worse than your regular soap opera. Okay, so they didn't like it then. The bad, the worst, and the ugly. The French answer to the Bond series. Didn't look like a Bond movie. Film to relax, enjoy, and have great fun. All right, it might be all right.
Yeah.
It's a paycheck. So, yeah. Delon as an action hero at 62. So, well, have you added that one to your list?
I've not.
Come on, Inside Man. Give it half a chance. See what I did there?
Yeah. I'm up to 19 anyway, so.
Yeah, well, you've got to have one more because it's, we've got to make it an even 20, haven't we? Isn't that what we said? So Vanessa Paradis must have been the squeaky blonde lady in that.
Yeah, I think she was. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I have to confess, I never knew she had an acting career. Like
I know she was going to be in Gilliam's, what do you call it? The Don Quixote film, wasn't she? She was due to be in that. Yeah, so she was going to be in that.
Let's see if there's what else have we missed. Oh, Day and Night, 1.9 out of 10 on IMDb.
Blimey. I don't think I've ever seen a score so low.
Okay, TV miniseries I'm always interested in. Fabio Montale. What's that about? Let's have a look. Oh, a retired police inspector finds he can't escape the rougher life he had growing up. That sounds like that could be quite fun. Let's have a look. French Riviera. Marseille. In Marseille, anything can happen. I'm sold. I want to find this show. So another show that we need to do is remember I showed the trailer for Braquo.
Yes.
The guy behind that did a whole load of sort of slick crime thriller dramas, movies. So one of them was called 24 or 24 Hours or something like that. Yeah, really good. He is an ex-cop, the guy that writes all that stuff.
Yeah.
And he's done a whole load of films. I've got about 6 of them. One of them's called Paris Lockdown, where they rob 20 banks in a single day or something. Yeah, it's good, really good. He makes really good content.
Is that Paris Lockdown? Is that a miniseries or a movie?
No, it's a movie.
It's a movie, right. Okay.
Yeah, it's a feature film. I've actually got the DVD. It's sitting in a case just behind the computer. Matilda May was in that film. From Life Force. Yeah. So I didn't know she'd done many other films apart from Life Force, I have to confess.
Yeah.
So he did basically acting cameos after this. Julius Caesar in Asterix at the Olympic Games. They should have made that film this year. That would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Frank Reaver TV series where he played the title role. After 20 years in exile, undercover cop Frank Reaver comes back in Paris. He faces mob boss Norbert Logue and his son Maxime, who put a bounty on his head during the French Connection days. I want to see this.
Yeah. Damn.
I bet getting hold of that's going to be difficult.
Yeah, I bet it is. I'm actually up to 21 now.
Frank Reaver. Well, okay, so we said when we got to the end of the stream we were going to have a dig around and see what's available. So yeah, this looks quite good. There's only one review, so let's have a look, see what it says. Alan is magnificent. 6-episode series. I feel like this review is probably written by someone on the production, because it just feels like it's a synopsis taken from their pitch deck, quite possibly. But okay, I mean, listen, I'm sold on it anyway, so I'd quite like to see that. Yeah, this actress he's worked with quite a bit. I've seen she's been in at least 7 of his credits. Meryl Dark. So I mean, French actress and director. God, just again, she's got that sort of iconic late 60s, 70s sort of, expect to see her on the cover of Vogue or one of those high fashion magazines. So hello, ladies. Look at that. Now IMDb is playing with me again, trying to get me to buy a pro account, I think. Yeah, all right. So having sort of looked through Mr. Delon's career before we attempt to try and see what's available either on YouTube or to purchase, what are your thoughts?
Well, as I said earlier on, I'm very disappointed in myself, really, for having his passing prompting me. It's something that I should have done much sooner, years earlier, to go through his biography and of movies and start to pick a few more out. So I'm ashamedly kind of not too averse with his movies, with most of his movies. I know some of them, and I've seen some of them, but the ones that I have on my list, obviously, they're ones that I haven't seen. I should have seen. I just feel like I should have seen them. I mean, he is somebody that, as I said before, when we think about the French actors of that time, the French iconic actors of that time, we always think of Alain Delon, Brigitte Bardot. Leslie Caron can be added in there as well, but it's really, he's the only male actor that we automatically are drawn to, that we think of. And he is an icon. He's an international icon, not just a French icon. And it's sad. It's just, I always feel really upset when we kind of lose these people. I really do, because of the contribution that they've made to cinema and to acting, and the pleasure that they've given to us. That, it's a gift that we just can't repay. We can't repay the gift that these people have given to us. But yeah, bless him.
1970, so that's like 12 years after they met, because they met in 58. There's another good photo of her, this one. So I recognized her straight away from that picture, because the reason I recognized her is my dad's twin brother's wife looked very similar to this lady. And I always remember that she looked a lot like a movie star that I'd seen, and this is her. So, but yeah, she predeceased him by. She was married 3 times, as well as 2 other long-term partners, and cardiac arrest due to a weakened heart caused by a kidney operation. So,
oh dear,
they're together now, I guess, is the takeaway you can.
It is.
You can have there. But I mean, he had sort of, he had children quite late. If you, hang on, I need to put that up, or just let me put the picture of the man back up. But yeah, he had two children with a relationship with a. Hang on a second. Yeah, he met Dutch model Rosalie van Bremen on the set of a music video. Started a relationship. They had two children. Alain Delon in 94 and Anoushka Delon in 1990. They were together until 2001, so 14 years. Bodyguard, Stephen Markovich, was found in a public dump dead. Delon and Francois Marcantoni, a Corsican gangster, came under investigation. One of the factors pointing in that direction was a letter from Markovich to his brother, in which he wrote, "If I get killed, it's 100% the fault of Alain Delon and his godfather Francois Marcantoni." Later, the investigation involved the former French Prime Minister and later President Georges Pompidou. After a few press articles and testimony, testified that he was present at parties with Pompidou's wife, Markovich and Delon. Markovich's death sparked rumours suggesting the existence of group sex photos with Pompidou's wife. I mean, it goes on. I won't read out the whole thing, but that's nuts. That's a nuts story. I mean, I'm amazed. Actually, considering the controversy and the big names involved, I'm not that amazed that no one's made a movie about it. But yeah, somebody wrote a book about it. And it was the first book in French legal history to have been banned by authorities. So, because Delon was one of the few associated with the affair, he sought to block its sale, but eventually the ban was lifted and the book was sold in France.
What's the title of the book?
Les Mysteries Delon. Oh, so it's actually a book about Alain Delon, but has a whole section on that. So here you go. The affair is treated in a 6-episode 2020 miniseries. Oh, mate, we're gonna have to watch this. I'm gonna put the title of it in the chat.
Wow.
Le Secret, something like the illicit secret. I think it's And it's this is what it's called. So that's a 6-part drama series based on that affair, which is one of the, shall we say, dramatic events in Delon's life. But there's also
in his spicy life.
Well, he had all these massive business interests, like he owned horses. He also get this, he owned his own brand of Ray-Bans, which John Woo's leading actor wore that brand of Ray-Bans in A Better Tomorrow and A Better Tomorrow 2, which resulted in massive sales of that particular brand of Ray-Bans. God, don't try saying that too quickly. Wow. So various people have cited his influences, including, so this is really interesting, many filmmakers, Daniel Bruhl, Jackie Chan, Sofia Coppola, William Friedkin, Jack Huston, Eva Longoria, Carl MacLachlan, Charles Melton, Nicholas Winding Refn, Mickey Rourke, Mark Strong, Quentin Tarantino, Bruce Willis, John Woo, Harvey Weinstein. Well, we won't mention him. Expressed respect or admiration for Alain Delon's career and longevity. Leonardo DiCaprio regards Alain Delon as one of the coolest actors in the history of cinema. Canadian actor Keanu Reeves asserts that Delon is his role model as an actor. He's such a charismatic actor. I think he has something in between tension and melancholy. British director Matthew Vaughn compares actor Michael Caine to Alain Delon, suggesting the unique cinematic influence of these two actors in their respective countries. I can see that, actually. American producer Robert Evans paid tribute to Delon in his memoirs, The Kid Stays in the Picture, considering him as his brother in life as in cinema, the most beautiful actor in Europe. Yeah, I remember that. I've got that book. It's good, and I saw the film as well. So
that's a terrible book.
The Kid Stays in the Picture.
Kid Stays in the Picture.
Well, it's very self-aggrandizing.
Oh my goodness me!
Yeah.
Oh, isn't it? Oh my goodness me! I thought it was going to be really, really good. I thought, it's this, this best-selling book, and I read it and I thought, my God, that stinks. This guy loves himself.
Yeah. Well, the Michael Mann has cited the influences of his movies for Heat, which is interesting. Funnily enough, one of the things I was thinking about doing is I might do a special stream on, but I'd need to rewatch them all. This is the only thing. I'm thinking about doing something about Miami Vice and just kind of like a retrospective
Good
review.
idea.
I mean, I don't want to do the whole thing because it's 4 seasons, 22, 23 episodes a season. I do want to do The Shield at that level of detail, but maybe watch the first season and watch the 4th season to see those differences,
Yeah. I mean, and there's a very, very good making of book of the Miami Vice series as well. Very detailed and kind of pretty much warts and all. But Luke, Northern English Bastard, he's recently rewatched the whole lot. So
Miami Vice.
Yeah, he's recently watched the whole lot. Yeah.
Where's it available? Do you know?
I don't know where he watched it. I really don't know where he watched it, but he watched the whole lot. Yeah.
It's possible that he sailed the Miami Vice high seas in his high-powered speedboat in order to facilitate the watching of.
Yeah.
I mean, well, what can we say about Mr. Delon? Few actors get to leave such a legacy. Quite a complex man, clearly, with quite the life. But nevertheless, his contribution to French cinema and television it's almost got no equal. Certainly in terms of someone playing the gritty detective, frazzled assassin type characters. This is your man. Let's have a look and see what's on Amazon in terms of some of these movies.
I thought Matthew Vaughan's comment was really quite valid, actually. I mean, he is France's version of Michael Caine. He's absolutely right there. I mean, they are of that exactly the same age, that exact same generation,
Yeah, I mean it's.
But that's a really good point.
Who else?
But you're right, mate. You're right. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, who else do we have of Caine's generation that's still alive? I think the only other actor of that generation that's still alive is Edward Fox. I can't think of anyone else because I think they've all gone.
Yeah.
Peter O'Toole's gone. Sean Connery's gone. I mean, there are some Americans. There are some Americans of that generation that are still alive, like Gene Hackman.
Yeah. We do still have Anthony Hopkins.
God, yes, Tony Hopkins. Yes, we do still have Tony Hopkins. That's right.
But you look at that generation.
Wasn't he slightly younger than Caine?
I think you're right. He was definitely younger than Richard Burton and Richard Harris.
I think his career took off not a big leap later, but like a couple of years later. So like Caine did Alfie in the 60s. I think Hopkins started becoming a name in the early 70s. So he was a big name by the time he shot Bridge Too Far in the summer of 76.
Yeah.
One
of my favorite films with Anthony Hopkins is Magic.
Yeah, that is
very creepy.
And one of my favorite Michael Caine films is Sleuth. Oh
my goodness me, it's brilliant. It's just a brilliant film, and he's terrific in it. Laurence Olivier is amazing in it. Brilliant. But also, do you remember the film Death Trap?
I do.
With Christopher Reeve.
Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember it.
I thought that was excellent. I thought it was an excellent film. Really, really good film.
Yeah. No, it's pretty good. I quite liked it. I think that's another one of the films that came out. Was it late 70s?
Yes. Yeah. I think it was 79, maybe.
Yeah.
But again, you're right. I mean, there are very few actors of that generation around now, and whilst they're here, we should treasure them, and when they're gone, we should treasure them even more, I think.
Yeah, I think Tony Hopkins, Michael Caine, and Edward Fox, funnily enough, all three of whom were in Bridge Too Far,
of course, yeah,
are probably of that generation.
Are
probably the last. I can't think of, and I'm trying to think of. There are probably some actresses. Joanna Lumley slightly later, so she's not quite up there, and maybe also more of a television icon than a movie star.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think. I mean, you could argue Judi Dench because she's probably their age. She was big on stage when they were big on film, but she is now quite arguably as big, if not bigger, than all three of them put together in her own way. In her own tour de force. But yeah, and is Maggie Smith still alive? I think she is.
Yes, she is. Yes, yeah.
Maggie Smith's still alive.
Goodness me, yeah.
And I
forgot about wonderful Maggie Smith.
And I think isn't the wife of Laurence Olivier or the wife of
Joan Plowright?
Joan Plowright, isn't she still alive?
I believe she is. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we talked about that on
Yeah.
Let me get Amazon up here, and what I'll do is I'll do a search for Alain Delon because you can search via actors' names, can't you, under the Blu-ray section?
I believe you can. Yeah.
Well, let's try it and we'll see what happens. Alain Delon movies. Okay. Oh my God. There's a 14 DVD box set of Alain Delon movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's got that word that you don't want to read underneath it, which says unavailable.
Oh, Christ.
Look, this one. How annoying is that?
Oh dear.
Let's look at the titles. So, there's definitely some of the. Yeah, look, Tony R's Enter. That's the Big Guns one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Big Guns. Le Samurai. It's another one of the ones that I wanted. Don't know if Scorpio's on there. Borsellino. So I think it's mainly like his cop stuff, which is fine with me. Let me just put the Samurai. I don't think I'll put the Samurai on my list. I want to make sure I've got that. So 1,522 minutes of Alain Delon. You've got some smaller sets. So there's one here for 50 quid, which is 5 movies.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's got Samurai. I'm not sure those. Well, I think there's only one other one. This last one. I think that's the only other one that was on my from 1981, Paula Poo. That's the only other one that was on my list. So, 3 Men and an Abattoir. That wasn't on my list. There must be some other stuff. I mean, you've got individual films as well. So, I mean, clearly there's a demand because there's a few different collections. Here's another one. Okay, that looks more like a sort of comedy-based one, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think
in terms of labels, when you have some of these specialist labels like Shout Factory and Blue Underground and
there's
Arrow,
Scorpio
and Criterion.
Mm.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, so you can get Scorpio for £6.80 DVD. That's pretty good. And it's available on Blu-ray as well.
That's pretty good. Excellent.
Sorry, carry on. You were talking about the labels, the
the specialist labels. Yeah, all these specialist labels and everything, Arrow, Criterion, Blue Underground, Shout Factory, and so on and so forth. I mean, they're so good, and obviously they have their own websites, and you can actually buy direct from them rather than going through, people like Amazon.
Sometimes
there is
buying from them,
kind of a minor discount.
Is that because sometimes buying from them direct, I find, is more expensive. Weirdly.
Yeah, I think some of the a couple of the Arrow ones have been a little bit more expensive.
Bloody hell, mate! If you want Scorpio on Blu-ray, you got to pay £27. That's a pricey collector's item there.
Yeah, to hell with that one.
Yeah. Do want to watch it again though. See what else we got.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah, I mean, there's quite a few of them. I'm not seeing all of them. I definitely want to see this. The Samurai. It just looks really cool. And I don't think I've ever seen it. But I'm not seeing Blood on the Streets on DVD, which I really want. Here you go. There's a three set there. That's sort of Samurai and Sos Bellitas. And I think that's a rom-com. No. We want the gangster crime stuff. Don't chuck in a Delon rom-com with 2 gangster films. Oh wait, look at this. 16 DVDs. £116, 27. That's pretty pricey. Yeah. There's only one left in stock. Probably won't be any left in stock after someone's watched this stream. But you get 16 of his movies, including Blood on the Streets, because that's on the cover. It's got 99 ratings. So clearly this is where's the rest of the information? I would have thought they would have had a bit more of a breakdown. Big Gun, so that's another one that I wanted. Yeah, I can see 5 of my list on there. Yeah, but that's a lot of.
How many have you got on your list? How many have you written down?
I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 12 movies, and then those 2 mini-series.
Right, yeah. What was the name of the mini-series about his life again? Can you remember? Did you write that one down?
Oh, the one that was, you mean the one that was made about that kind of weird affair with the bodyguard getting killed?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, I copied and pasted the title of it into the chat.
Right, okay.
It's called De Gaulle le Secret. So if you look in the chat, you can see it's actually in there.
Gotcha.
I can copy and paste it into the private chat as well if you want.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
But De Gaulle le Secret. I'm probably pronouncing that all wrong. Sounds like the actual translation of that would be De Gaulle keeps a secret, or has a secret to keep, something like that.
Yeah.
Actually, do you know what? Let's put that into Google and see if we can find it. And I'd also be interested to know if it's available. You're right on. I mean, God, I've never seen a man with such a massive Wikipedia page, because you've got like international recognition, musical influence. Then there's all honors. List of honors is huge. He got the honorary Palme d'Or at the 2019 Cannes Film Festival. I'll tell you what, that was timely. The year before COVID.
Yeah.
I was at that festival.
Oh, you was at that one, right?
I was. That was the last one I went to. And And it's funny actually because I'm pretty sure at one point that I saw him eating in a restaurant. But
nice.
only kind of like now I look at him now and I think, yeah, that was probably him. So for the 10 people watching, we've just had a massive in-depth discussion of all of the films of Alain Delon's career. We're now looking to see which of the films that we haven't seen that we want to track down are available and on what format. Where can we see them? There's also a 6-part drama series made about the Markovitch affair. Hang on, so that was on the Markovitch affair page. So yeah, and was made into a 2020 mini series. So I'm going to just pop that in here and see if anything comes up for it. Have a look. Oh, there you go. Look, it's available on DVD. This is it.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. £16. 2 discs. Yeah. Yeah, I'd be quite, and you can get a used one from £6.71. Now, the one thing you want to check before you order stuff like this is, does it have English subtitles? Yeah. My French isn't bad actually, but bonjour, comment allez-vous? But I wouldn't want to sit through a 6-part TV series trying to. There's some English reviews, so you'd assume. Why not make a Blu-ray? Someone's complaining. Yeah, so I'm curious to see if that's available.
Yeah, I want to see this. I really want to see this. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm just quite curious about this Markovitch affair. I've never heard about it before until I read.
Very intriguing.
Until I read about his Wikipedia page.
Very intriguing.
Let me look at the other two actual. So the Frank Reaver TV series, which I also want to see. Oh. Hold on a second. Alex, you always call when I'm streaming live on YouTube. Well, I'm not. Yeah, I'll call you back soon. Yeah, sorry. Sorry about that, people. Okay. I should have muted myself. I've got so many windows open right now. I can't. What was I looking for? Frank Reaver. Wasn't
Frank Reaver. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Alex, it's a bit of a tradition now that Alex always calls me.
Yeah.
When I'm live streaming. So I don't mute it when it's him because it's a bit of a funny running gag we have on the channel now. Yeah, I don't think this one's going to turn out to be available. There's nothing coming up. I don't think. Oh, hang on. Here we are. No, it is available. £20 on DVD. I have a feeling that might be Region 1 in addition to...
Oh, no, because we are European region, aren't we? We're Region 2 and Region B, I believe.
Yeah.
So,
But you can get it. It is available.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'd quite like to see this. This looks good. The language, German and French. Come on, man. You got to have English subtitles. It's the premium.
Yeah.
Let's look in this version, see if it's what we got here. Okay. So I don't know if it's available. This one's French only, so might have trouble tracking this down with subs. You might be able to get it on some site or other.
Yeah, I mean, it might be available for streaming on, I don't know, perhaps Prime or somewhere. I mean, they do have some pretty good stuff on there.
Yeah, no, they do. That's true. Actually, I could go onto Prime, couldn't I, and just do it's like an Alain Delon search. In fact, some people might snatch up some of his movies, possibly. So Right. Well, I think we'll start to wrap it up. For no other reason than I've got to call Alex back as well. No, but I think we're coming to the end.
Yeah.
Was there anything else we wanted to check to see if we could find on? Just let me see. Let's have a look and just quickly see if this. Oh, god damn! This Cops Honor. Yeah, there you go. There's even a VHS of Cops Honor. But no nice. DVD, no Blu-ray. And that's there you go. That's the currently unavailable. Yeah. So some of these films are going to be harder to track down than others, clearly. Mr. Delon, what can we say? What an amazing career. Thanks for your huge contribution towards international cinema and television. Like you said, I wish I'd seen more of his films while I was still alive. I've definitely seen at least 10, so I've probably seen more of Delon's work than your average Joe. But now we've actually sat down and say, okay, what else has he done? I've found a deluge of other movies that I really want to watch, and I suspect a lot of his work from the 70s in particular, I would say probably from 68 to like 79, I suspect a lot of what a lot of critics would have described as sort of mundane pedestrian crime dramas we'll probably look at them and in quite revered quality. They'll probably be quite high standard compared to a lot of the stuff we see today. Yeah. Now I've got to give this lady a mention. Halette Louise, welcome to the channel. This was the lady who was very quick to point out my terrible mistake about Vincent Cassel when I got it messed up in my head. Because Cassel was Delon's son, who of course he's not. His father's a completely different actor, and you know how it is. You just woken up and your brain is kicking into gear. So I'm very much in your debt, Halette, for pointing out that mistake. And she has asked, did you mention Visconti's Le Gepard? Did we talk about that? I don't think we did. We'll mention it now quickly before we sign off. Let's have a look. She's still here. Fantastic. Merci. Much gratitude. Let's see. What year was that released? Because I don't think I've seen it. It's not one of the ones I mentioned that I'd seen earlier. I'm guessing this must be quite early on. It'd probably be easier if I just type in the title, wouldn't it? Rather than scrolling through his endless list of credits. It was rumored that they had an affair. Oh, well, indeed. We were saying you could make quite the biopic. Oh, The Leopard with Burt Lancaster.
The Leopard.
Right.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Luchino Visconti. Yes, indeed. Yeah. I know this movie.
Yeah.
It's set in Sicily, isn't it? Man, I might have to. Yeah, no, we did look at this because this. We did stop and look at this one with Claudia. Remember, I mentioned Claudia Cardinali was in it.
Yeah. Right. Okay. I'm actually going to put this one on my list.
Damn, man, your list is pretty big.
Yeah, I've now got 22.
So, Luchino Visconti died in 69. So it's rumored that he had an affair with this director. Oh well, I guess multiple tastes, as it were.
Yeah.
Because actually we had a look at this guy's work briefly as well to see what else he directed. He directed Death in Venice. That's right.
Wonderful film.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I saw this because I remember seeing a show with Burt Lancaster in this costume with this hair and this moustache.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a young Alain Delon there. Look at that. With Terence, and there's Terence Hill.
Yeah, Django.
Yeah, Django.
Yeah, or one of the Djangos.
one of the Djangos. Yeah.
Yeah. He was a good-looking bloke as well, Terence Hill. God damn it.
I mean, I've been to Sicily. You've got some amazing architecture and stuff there. Oh man, I feel like I need to watch this again.
My missus has actually just come back from there today.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, lucky. I hope she brought you some olive oil. Yeah,
funny enough, because her cousin's place actually, her cousin's got their own villa out there, and they grow their own olives, so they've got a massive olive grove, and they produce their own olive oil.
We should get, when we come back and do that other stream, we should get Marco and Helette on, as they all seem to have inside knowledge. Yeah, this is a really sumptuous production, isn't it? And I mean, look, they've made the most of the rolling Sicilian landscapes and hills and things.
Wonderful.
And I have a feeling there's a town. It's on the southeast or east side of the island, with a really huge square with a couple of like churches in it. And it was in the movie, the guy who did Cinema Paradiso.
Oh yeah,
he also made that movie. It's just got the name of the woman, and the actress is Vincent Cassel's wife, or I think it's his ex-wife now, the Italian actress. And they used that square in that movie. And I recognized it like immediately, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, we were there. We were walking through that. And I remember when I was walking through that, God, this would be an amazing film location. That was my exact words, and boy, yeah, wouldn't it be? This town as well. I've been here too. It's also quite an incredible place. Right, okay, so what else have we got coming up? We're back tomorrow with the Nielsen ratings, where we're going to just talk about, we've got a larger panel. We talk about films, video, TV shows that we have been watching or have mainly stuff that we want to recommend. We don't spend 2 hours whinging at you. Thank you very much for reminding me, Marco. I have got brain fog. I've been on for 2.5 hours now. Milena is the name of the film starring Monica Bellucci. Yes, indeed. Fantastic.
Just quickly, sorry to interrupt, Lance. Tomorrow's actually Spartacus. We're doing Spartacus tomorrow.
Oh, sorry, tomorrow's Monday, isn't it? Tomorrow, yes. Tomorrow we're doing episodes 7 and 8 of the 2010 Australian New Zealand co-production of Spartacus. We've been breaking down that show, doing it every week. It's quite different from tonight's content. And then on Tuesday we're doing the Nielsen ratings, which is our weekly show. That's at 10 p.m. UK time. Spartacus will probably be either 8 or 9 o'clock tomorrow. I haven't kind of set that in stone yet. And then we have got the interview with director of photography Roy Wagner. Roy Wagner, of course, was the DOP, as I mentioned earlier, on Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and a whole host of other films. Gunther Meisner, always playing baddies. So this has been really interesting talking about Mr. Delon's career. What a fantastic career. What a huge contribution to cinema. And indeed, the French crime genre aesthetic, I think, would be fair to say. Myself and the Inside Man are going to be trying to track down a number of his films. And I'll be seeing if I can cajole people into buying me the big Alain Delon DVD set that's currently not available. Also, we're going to try and watch this show, which is about an event which Delon was rumoured to be connected to. So that should be pretty interesting to explore the drama on that topic. But yeah, if I could get hold of this 16 DVD box set, that would be pretty good. Adrian is asking, did he do something with, isn't it Jean-Luc Godard? Must be talking about. I don't know is the answer to that. We've been going through all of his credits. I don't think he worked with Truffaut. I mean, from what I could see, I didn't see any of Truffaut's films come up immediately. So that's it from us this Sunday. Slightly different from our usual Sunday programming, but no less deserving. Mr. Delon, of course, definitely earning his rightful place to have a few kind words said about him and his career discussed in detail. He certainly has earned that. Have you got anything to add before we go?
Well, I just can't believe that I haven't seen as many films of his I'm gutted that I haven't seen so many, but I have my list now. And but yeah, what a wonderful not just actor but director, a very shrewd businessman, so it would seem as well.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. But
probably a very wise decision.
Yeah.
Something I've been notoriously bad at with my with my own career.
But I think if this has done anything, it's certainly encouraged me to watch more of his movies.
Oh,
and I hope it's done something to encourage other people to do the same. I think they're well deserving of another viewing or a first viewing, if you haven't seen them. So I think that's what's really, really good about doing these streams, Lance. I really do. We
had a massive discussion about Romney Schneider earlier, funnily enough, Hillette. So we did cover that earlier in the stream. Yeah, and who, of course, as Delon said, was the love of his life. And he regretted not marrying her when he had the chance. Yeah. All right, that's it from us. Thank you to everyone who tuned into this special edition dedicated to and talking about the life and work of Alain Delon. Thank you to the people in the chat for the comments and questions. Welcome to the channel, Marco Ferretas. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Marco. And Hillette Louise. Really do appreciate you coming on. The channel primarily, we're here to talk about and promote our love of film and television and stuff that we really like to encourage others to see who haven't seen them, and spread the word. But we also work in the industry, and we interview people in the industry. So if you go on the channel and poke around the industry interviews playlist, you'll see there are 72 interviews, a lot of them with people from the film and television industry. Not all of them, but a lot of them from that world. Okay, that's good night from him.
And it's good night from me.
So you did it. Wasn't that hard, was it?